Hello, and welcome to my very first YouTube video. Very cool, very exciting. So I wanted to start a YouTube channel and I wanted to start this series as a way for me to kind of look back on everything that I make over the year. I get really jealous whenever I see those videos of like, and with that, the 2025 season is over, and then it shows like everything that person's made over a year. Because I'm just generally not that good at looking back on the things that I've made, and that I really do make a lot of really good stuff over the year. I just don't remember it because my brain isn't that good at things, and that's okay. So yeah, I want to start that out. What I want to talk about today is the stuff that I've spent this year making so far. I mean, it is okay, it's January 10th, so we've only had 10 days. It's not that long. But I made kind of a lot of stuff, and not all of it's in this pile. Some of it I actually mailed off already to a friend. But I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, it's kind of a weird time of the year for me because I'm in between cosplay projects. I just finished up this piece for GalaxyCon. That was December 5th to 7th. I don't remember what day the competition was, but it was that weekend, GalaxyCon Columbus. I finished up her, and she was a very big build, and then went on vacation, and then it was like Christmas to New Year's without traveling to see family this year. So it's been a really like boring time to adjust to jet lag and everything. And I definitely got the crafting zoomies, especially with some of the political stuff happening. Whenever we have political things happening in this country, United States, I definitely get the crafting zoomies. That way I don't doom scroll on the internet because it I can't help. Like there's very little I can do to help. Like I can donate, and that's like kind of the end of what I personally am capable of doing. Um and so knowing every single second of every update is not productive for me. But what is productive is taking these hard times and using them as an opportunity to make something for my friends that reminds them that they are loved and that I like them. I think that's it's a slightly more productive use of my time personally. We each find our own ways to deal with turmoil. Okay, so weekly inspo. My inspiration for this past week has been just kind of like following really unstructured creative time. Normally, I've got this like really big project that I'm working on, like that, and it's incredibly structured. I have like a clear outline of exactly what needs to be made, what colors, the type of stitches. Some of that's up to personal interpretation, but like there is a very clear outline and a very clear goal of the final outcome of what I'm making, and a very clear deadline because I'm competing with a lot of these pieces. And so that's like extremely structured, and I love it. And I'm someone who really thrives when I have that type of external structure. And so these past 10 days have been really strange for me, and it's been interesting and difficult and also fun to engage in a lot more unstructured creative time. I've been able to just really follow the breeze, and just kind of see what inspires me and what I want to make. And so the first thing I got started with was a baby blanket. And I'll insert a couple clips of me making this blanket. I was talking to one of my friends on Saturday, and she was talking about how like the baby blanket I made her is kind of one of the only ones that she uses, that she received from family and stuff when her baby was born last year. Last year? I think she was born last year. Anyways, um, and I've been really itching to use my embroidery machine, and I was just like, I have to make her a baby blanket today. um, so I woke up Sunday. Well, I had that thought Sunday morning. I woke up Sunday morning thinking, I have to make this today. And part of that deadline was because I had a bunch of gifts from Japan to mail out to friends and stuff, and I was going to the post office on Mondays anyways. And so I was like, oh, well, if I can just get it done today, I'll be able to mail it out. And so I did. I took some time. I used Hatch. I used their monogramming feature. I just picked the software up October of last year, and it was for Monster Hunter. And so I didn't like I was doing all replica work, so I was doing a lot of my own digitizing, and I didn't have much of an opportunity to just kind of like play with the software and see what you can make for funsies. And so I really enjoyed using the monogramming aspect, and you'll see that in some of the dog bandanas too. I kind of went buck wild. I just really enjoyed it. It was really fun to have some new Legos to play with. Um, it was really fun to just kind of play and be creative. So I had this fabric left over from the first baby blanket I made for her. I always overbuy fabric, and in this case, I bought exactly double of what I wound up using, and so I was able to make two. The one like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then this one over the weekend. So I digitized a cute little monogram for her baby. Her name is Elkie. I won't say anything else about her. We respect children's privacy on this channel. But yeah, I had a really fun time making it, and mom really loves it. She thinks it's very cute and it's sweet, and it gives her more space to crawl around on at home, which I don't know, that makes me happy. I think it's really nice to see some stuff actually be used. I make so much stuff for cosplay that doesn't actually get used that often. Like, I really love making cosplays and I love wearing them, but most of the time I'm only wearing them for like two-ish events, sometimes three. I'm getting better about it over the past couple years. That's been something I've been focusing on, is being able to wear my costumes for more events and get a little bit more replay value out of them, make them more comfortable, make them more sturdy, more washable, that sort of thing. But yeah, I was just really happy with how it came out. And then, you know, it was Sunday night. I finished sewing it up, and then I was like, oh, I want to make more. And then I remembered that I'm a millennial and that I don't know anyone with children. All I know are people with dogs. Oh. So I started making a bunch of little dog bandanas. This is not all of them. One of them, again, has already been mailed out. I've been making those. I did these two. I think they're very cute. This one is for Pepper. She is a little Pomeranian Husky mix. She's an angel. She's currently in doggy daycare while her dad is on the other side of the globe pretending he's in Lord of the Rings in New Zealand. So I don't have a picture of Pepper wearing it, but in another video, I'll be sure to include a small clip of Pepper wearing it. And then I made this one for Ryder, and this one, this is one of my neighbor's dogs, and he is a very cute little schnauzer. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the green one first. I thought the lighter green, I thought it was a little busy and a little difficult to read, and that's probably something I'm going to stay away from in the future whenever I'm doing embroidery, is this like really dense, high contrast pattern. I think that combination turned out not so great. So yeah, so I have that. And then I decided to make this one two-sided because I don't have a full understanding of my neighbor's like aesthetic preferences. So I didn't want to make her something that she thought was hideous. You know what I mean? So I made two options. And then I just decided to make it one piece. It made finishing it a lot easier, and it looks a lot cleaner too. And then the collar just goes through the hole up here. And it fits a pretty large collar. Ryder isn't that big. I think he might be 35 pounds now. He is also still a puppy, so he's still growing. And this will also let him grow into it too. As long as he doesn't need one of those like super thick, chunky collars, he should be totally fine with this one. So I made those. And again, I did this in Hatch with the monogramming options, just the default stuff that came with the software. I have been shopping a lot for other monogramming and embroidery options. I've just kind of been seeing what's on the market and what other people do with their machines. I picked up my Meridian. I got her used, well, not refurbished, used, you know what I mean. And again, I bought her for like this. Okay, I didn't buy her for this cosplay. I bought her because she was 65% off, and I said, oh my god, I will use that, and I get to use it for Monster Hunter. So it worked out really, really well, the timing of it all, and I'm really glad I picked her up because I've really enjoyed working with her. But I hadn't done that much research into what people are normally doing with their machines and what the existing market looks like. And so I've just kind of been searching through, I don't know, what do people do? What do you do? How do you do it? What do people like to do? What's popular? What's for sale? What's available on the market? What are you guys doing over there? I want to know. Maybe I want to do some of it too. So I've been doing a lot of that. I haven't purchased anything yet because I try and refrain from purchasing digital files unless I am going to use them that week. Because if not, I just hoard them. And then I've spent all this money for stuff that I never use, and just like nobody's happy. So I wait until I have a use for it. I do believe I'm making more dog bandanas this week. There's a couple more dogs in the immediate friend circle that I would like them to have such cute little bandanas for. They're so cute. I love them. And I am especially going to love Pepper on hers. Oh, another thing about Pepper's is I did hers on the bias, so there is stretch in the neck. I don't know. I feel like whenever I put like something on one of my dog's heads, I also have a Pomeranian Husky mix, and I feel like it gets like stuck on her head. and it's like hard to take off to just like slip off. So I think if it has some stretch, it'll still fit comfortably on her neck, but you can just like slip it on, and then you don't have to worry about like pinching their fur up in the knot. Because I always feel guilty whenever I pinch their fur in a knot. I know how much it hurts to have my hair pulled. I don't want to pull their fur like that. So that was just kind of something for Pepper. What else did I do this week? So in addition to that, I did some mock-ups for a friend. I've got a collection of friends who vend at like anime conventions and stuff. And they are making, I think they're VTuber dice. I feel so bad. I have no idea who the characters are, but they're making custom dice sets. And so I've done some work for them in the past, well, work with them in the past, making digitized files. Oh, I should point these towards y'all so that you can see them. I've made some of these files before. So I made these two files. I made the cat and the bird previously as SVGs, and then I just used the auto digitize feature in Hatch, which is why I went with Hatch over something like Palette or Inkscape. Was because I really liked that auto digitize feature. I've used it in the past for other cosplays when I've borrowed a friend's machine to do the embroidery on, and the auto digitize is just, it's nice and it works. Like it just works 90% of the time, and I that's so invaluable. It's so nice to have, especially when I already have a copy of the file and I don't need to like make the vectors from scratch. I already have the vectors. I already did that. I got to do that on the couch on my iPad, and it was very comfortable and very nice. So I did that, and I also we're looking to make little bags for the dice to go, and they fit in the bag really nicely, and the pattern was really really simple. It doesn't have cords in it because I don't have any cording in my space that I know of. It's just never something I've really needed, so I don't think I have any. But yeah, so it fits into the dice bags really comfortably, which I'm really excited for. But yeah, I just think they turned out really cute, and they were pretty simple to make. I'm really excited to see if we wind up going forward with this path. I don't know, I've really been enjoying making stuff for my friends that vend. I've never been interested in like making money off of it because that feels a little slimy to me. But I really enjoy the idea of being able to help my friends sell stuff better. That sounds like fun. Why not? I want my friends to make money. Yeah, I'd love to help. So yeah, so I made those this week. And then the last thing that I worked on that was really big was this absolutely massive Lalabarina piece. So this piece is, I think she's like 8 by 10 inches. Let me see. She is, yeah, 7 inches by almost 9. So 7 by 9 inches, absolutely huge. I used one of my bigger frames for this. I used my 9 by 9 frame, and then I also, 9.5 by 9.5, and then I also have I also have a 9.5 by 14. So if I needed to go bigger, I could, but I don't think I really want to. I don't really have a reason to have made her. But I was just really enjoying trying out Hatch and digitizing stuff. Like I said, the other stuff that I digitized, so like on this piece, like I did the collar, I've done that with Hatch. I did the auspicious clouds. I used some of the features for the 2 obies that she has on. These both have a lot of texture in them. And then also these 2 skirt panels are also embroidered. And so like those are, I don't know, they're cool and they turn out beautiful. Oh, and the patch, there's a patch on the back. Let me gently spin her. There is also a patch on the back that I digitized, and then also the 2 scarf pieces. So I got to do that with Hatch, and that was really fun. And that was in like November of last year. Yeah, November of last year was the last time I was working with it for Monster Hunter. And I don't know, I just wanted to do more. I wanted to see what I could do. I wanted to see what some of the common pitfalls are. We can see in this piece that I did have some alignment issues. And the alignment issues weren't until the very final color. And so I think what happened is I think the fabric just kind of like scrunched up on me, and that by the time I got to the final colors, the fabric had just shrunk. And so I think I need to be smarter about the order that I do all of the threads in. And I think I also need to be more willing to swap colors more frequently. So far, I've been prioritizing how little I have to swap thread colors, and I don't think that's the best choice for pieces of this size. The other thing I think I could have done differently is I think I could have basted the edges to the stabilizer that I have on the back. This is just like a normal tearaway stabilizer. And also this fabric isn't very good. This is just like an old synthetic that I bought like 10 years ago. It's also covered in stains. which is part of why I used it for this because it's a fabric I'm never going to use for anything else other than like these mock-ups. But yeah, I think the fabric was a little too slick and I think it slipped out of the frame because the front side is this really slippery synthetic weave. It's like it's probably a sateen. Is it? No, it's not a sateen, but it's like a really slippery polyester lining is what I made it out of. So yeah, I think those two issues cause some problems. And then also, as you notice, I ran out of thread. I ran out of the dark red thread. This was like a brand new spool, but it wasn't one of the like really thick spools. So this is the spool that I used that ran out. And then this is the other size spool that I used for the other reds. And I am learning the hard way how much thread embroidery uses. I actually bought my first cones this week as well. But yeah, I am just running out of thread. I did not realize how much thread like a fill uses. That's crazy. I was also learning that the hard way on this piece. I ran out of thread several times in very key moments. It's a little bit stressful. So I'm learning to overbuy thread, which is something I've never really had to do before in my sewing career, which is fine. It's just something different. That's totally fine. Okay, so other things that I worked on at the start of the year is kind of like exploring what I'm interested in making over the year. I've got most of my events planned. I'm doing C2E2 if I get accepted. And then after that, I'm doing Combo Breaker in Chicago, and then I'm doing Animate. I might be doing a MatsuriCon, and then maybe Evo, maybe CEO Taku if it comes back, and then I'll be doing GalaxyCon as well. And so for some of those, I'll be doing competitive cosplays. For some of those, I'll just be for some of those, I'll just be re-wearing costumes that I already have or like remaking parts of them. So just kind of like looking at who all I want to make. I don't know if I'm going to get accepted into C2E2. I am very hopeful, but I won't know if I get into C2E2 for a minute. So I would like to get a head start on planning and working on other builds that I want to make for the rest of the year. I probably won't do anything with final fabrics. I like to hold off on final fabrics until I am like 100% locked in on doing that build. But I'll do things like I'll do the 3D modeling, I'll do mock-ups out of muslin and stuff like that, because a lot of those things are either like reusable or don't generate significant amounts of waste. Like, yeah, I've got some digital hoarding on like the collection of like whip 3D files that I have on my PC, but I feel a lot less guilty abandoning a 3D file that I spent like 10 hours working on than I do abandoning like $50 worth of fabric that I cut up and half sewed together, because that feels way worse to me. Even if I am working with natural fibers, it just feels really bad to me. A couple of the pieces that I looked at for making over the next year are Bombazetta and Snow Moon Caitlin, and both of those would be for Combo Breaker. I have ideas of what I might want to make for anime, but that's so far away. I'll think about it in the future. So I plan those out just to kind of see if I like the shapes, if I think it's achievable, kind of figure out what is going to be hard and what's going to be easy to make out of these costumes. I really like to do this exploration before I start a build. And I'll frequently do many of them too. I'll frequently explore, 3 characters for any given event just to see who I am most interested in making, what shapes appeal to me the most, which shapes I think will look best on me, and that type of thing. I'm not saying you have to make cosplays that look as flattering as possible. But for me personally, if the costume like doesn't look flattering on me, I will cry and never look at a picture again. And I will never post any of the pictures, and it will just be like a wash of like, I hated that character. I never want to look at those pictures again. I will cry occasionally when I look at those pictures. And so to avoid all of the heartache, I like to do this pre-planning process. It also lets me have a bit of a better idea of how long it's going to take, how complicated it's going to be. Is it achievable in this time frame? Do I need to start on it today? Did I need to start on it 2 weeks ago in order to get it done? But yeah, that was really fun, and I'm really desperately hoping and praying that 2XKO has a Snow Moon Caitlin skin, because I think she's beautiful, and I already have half of her 3D model done for her gun because I planned on making her. a couple years ago, and I did start working on her weapon for that. That's everything I did over the past 10 days. Can you tell I had political zoomies where I was trying not to doom scroll? um, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think all of these went really, really well. I had a great time learning Hatch and like learning how to do such cute little pieces for my friends. Working with my machine has been a dream. I even got, there's a stink bug stuck in my machine one night. So I learned how to take my machine apart a little bit. I didn't do anything fancy. I just took like the case off. That way I could get the bug out of the machine because like besides the house, this is the most expensive thing I've ever purchased. And I'm like terrified to break her. I didn't want bug guts all over the inside of my machine. Ew, gross. Ooh, I don't want that. So I had to get a stink bug out of my machine. That kind of sucked. But yeah, so that's what I made over the past 10 days. It feels like so little sitting in front of me now, but it really was a lot. And I don't know, it just kind of helped me process and plan and start my year off on the right foot. That way I kind of know where I'm going and what some of the like the key points that I want to hit are and everything. It's been mostly nice having unstructured time. Like I said, I'm not someone who typically does well with unstructured crafting time. I really am someone who needs like a clear goal and something to work towards. But yeah, so that's everything I worked on at the start of the year. It feels like so little in front of me, but this really was a lot of time, and this was, I don't know, a lot of hard work and a lot of love. And I'm really happy with what I came up with, and I'm happy that a lot of these are gifts for people. I think that's really fulfilling. And also, I would like my structured time back. I'm excited to get started on a project whole hog. I don't know what that project is yet because I don't know what my next event is. So maybe I'll start on something for Animate, my third event for the year. Maybe I'll start on that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what next week brings. I know I do have a couple more puppy bandanas to make that'll be a little bit simpler than these. I think they're going to be like single letter monograms for some of the dogs, partly because I don't know the dogs as well. And I don't know. Yeah, so that's what I plan on doing next week. But yeah, if you guys like what you saw in today's video, please like and subscribe. When you like, it tells the algorithm that you want to see more of my videos, and they'll like pop into your feed sooner after they're published. And then subscribing puts my stuff in your feed to begin with. So yeah, have a good weekend, happy crafting, and see you next time. Bye.